Hello and welcome to Pluribus Unum's Fireside Chats. Not as good as 50 hours, but hey, it's something. Happy Gay Month, everybody! Hooray! It's the Gay Month. Everybody is gay now. So, if you're watching this, and, this would be a good time to check out my Pride Month video playlist, because I made a Pride Month playlist for all my Pride Month related videos. Gay Pride, Trans Pride, whatever. All the videos I made to celebrate all the different ones. I actually looked up a fucking thing to just copy and paste every single fucking alternative gender and sex identity here to be yes, pride, yes, pride, yes, pride, yes. And these videos are a rather interesting bunch. There's LGBTQ First in Politics, the Hinge pro-trans film from the 50s, Who is Jeanette Rankin, A Brief History of LGBTQ Representation in Media. I'll be honest, you could skip this episode. Who is David McReynolds? Politics and Media, El Baile de los 41. And for 1 year, last year it seems, I did a Pride Month. I did a couple of Pride Months for Pride Month podcasts. I did one about bisexual erasure, head washing in the media, head washing in history. Who's that person there? I can't remember. Okay, I don't remember. Trans rights or human rights, and rainbow capitalism. And I did another video about Bill Nye Trans episode 7 years later. And I'm not going to give away what the two videos I'm going to make this month are, but they will be good enough. I just recorded them, and they're going to be interesting. I did plan on trying to do another full month of Pride Month related main series topics, but I honestly can't think of any. So it's how unfortunate. Regardless, let's get right into the news. First, Venezuela held elections. First, this one's not that interesting. For starters, of course, let's just get into the results. Results overwhelmingly, Nicolas Maduro's PSUV coalition won, but it's because literally every single opposition party skipped out of the fucking election because it's they all didn't give a shit. Nobody cared. The Communist Party of Venezuela literally is we can't run because PSUV took over half of our party and we can't run. We literally can't run. And what is more interesting is the fact that this election was the first of its kind to be held in the Guyana Esquiva, which is a lie. It was not held in the Guyana Esquiva region. It was a candidate that was it was an election that was okay, let me see. There were no polling stations in the Guyana Esquiva. It was held in the capital of Venezuela. But now a guy by the name of Neil Villamar has decided to run, and he's now considered their government person, despite the fact that literally the International Court of Justice said that Venezuela can't do this. And this is insane. This is insane. Nicolas Maduro says that they do not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. And I'm going to take a wild guess and say that Nicolas Maduro doesn't believe that case for, of course, it's so insane. Regardless, I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to move on to the next one because there's not much else to say. I just included this one because I just thought it was funny. Venezuela now has a governor in a different country now. Okay, anyways, update on Palestine. Palestine has a lot of things that have been going on. A lot of things have happened in Palestine. At least 70 Palestinians have been killed since dawn in Israel's attack across Gaza. Palestinians expressed growing frustration with U.S. and Israeli-backed aid distribution scheme, which has caused scenes of chaos and deadly violence over the past few days. The UN says Israel is blocking it from accessing and distributing much-needed humanitarian aid and supplies to Gaza, with around 600 truckloads of goods stuck at the crossing point. Israel has ordered the closure of the Al-Awada Hospital, the last functioning hospital in northern Gaza, as the World Health Organization says dozens of people remain in the facility. The White House says that Israel has signed off on a new Gaza ceasefire proposal that was delivered to Hamas, the Palestinian group says in reviewing its plan. Now, this is insane for a lot of things. There's more here that was going to be said. There was more that was here There should have been more that was here, but like one of the things that it said here was about like fucking it was about the I think it was about the poll. I think it was about this poll where it's like overwhelming majority of Jewish Israelis back the expulsions of Palestinians from Gaza, something like that. And it points out that of a poll of 1,000 people, 82% back the forced deportation of Gaza's 2.2 million residents. And that the poll, there was like a different, I think there was like a graphic of the poll that was like a bit more big, and it showed like just overwhelmingly a majority of Israelis back the ethnic cleansing of Gazans, just openly, which makes sense considering there was a poll that was released earlier this year in February that said that 71% of Israelis opposed the idea of a Palestinian state, 68% support sovereignty in the entirety of the region, and it's insane. It's just insane. It's just insane. It really is insane because it's like it's so fucking like abundantly obvious what is going on, and it's just weird. It's just so weird. But like, here's another thing that is mentioned here. Like as it mentioned here, like White House says Israel has signed up on a new Gaza ceasefire proposal that was presented to Hamas. The Palestinian group said it's reviewing its plan, and this plan. And here's what it says. Hamas official says that it will reject new U.S. ceasefire plan backed by Israel. Now, this is interesting for a number of reasons. Like, for example, like, and this came out, a lot of people started doing the same thing. It was like, Hamas is rejecting the ceasefire. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. It's so, oh my goodness. How could Hamas do this? And then literally you scroll down, like how whatever thing is, you scroll down. It says here, a senior Hamas official has told the BBC that Palestinian armed group will reject the latest US proposal for a new Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. The White House said on Thursday that Israel has signed up on the envoy security workers plan and is waiting for a formal response from Hamas. Israel media cited Israeli officials saying it would see Hamas hand over 10 living hostages and the bodies of 18 dead hostages in two phases in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire and the release of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. The Hamas officials said the proposal did not satisfy the core demands, including an end to the war, and that it would respond in due course. So literally, it's like, oh, there's a new ceasefire plan. It doesn't cause a ceasefire. So like, wait. It's the same thing with like the people who, because like I'm seeing a lot of people like pull back the fucking same old bullshit Arafat thing where they're like, Arafat, oh my goodness, Arafat rejected the deal. Why should we care about what Palestinians say? Because like Arafat rejected the deal. It's like, why did Arafat reject the deal? Because the deal didn't even do the one thing they wanted. This is the stupid thing. It's like, this is the dumbest thing. It's like, you can't go around claiming that you have this big, massive ceasefire deal that's going to help everybody, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're going to not do the one thing you fucking want. It's like, what? There's honestly not much else for me to say about this. There was more on the fucking other page that I had that was going to be a bit more in depth on this issue, but it's just like, it's just insane. It's just insane that we live in this fucking topsy-turvy world where it's literally somehow, why is this group of all people being the ones that are like, it's insane. Why are they the ones coming forth with a fucking like actual thing? Like, I don't get it. It's like the one thing they want, end the war. That's all they're saying they want. And there's people like, oh my goodness, we can't trust them. It's like, they've like said multiple times that they wanted to like end the war and like stop the fighting and stop the killing. And people just really don't understand. They just don't understand anything. They don't understand jack shit. Now to be clear, I guess I'll use this time to do the full like spiel. I denounce Hamas. Hamas is a Sunni Islamist group. Wow. Yeah, we get it. But it's like, again, understand the situation that led to this formation. You gotta understand the full history of the conflict. Which things that people like Zionists claim that I need to do. But it's like, I do. I understand it all. I don't understand where you all are coming from with your like, Israel murdering children is okay. Because what? Hamas people put them in the way? Like, again, like, it's like, did not satisfy core demands, including an end to the war. And yet somehow, again, it's like, man, how could Hamas do this? It's the same thing that happened with Arafat, where it's like, man, Arafat, how could you run away from the deal? The deal that literally does not allow Palestinians the right to return home? Like, wow. How kind of them. It's the same thing with, like, fucking, like, Zionists who, like, come to my YouTube channel. They try to be like, oh, well, you need to, it's like, oh, Israel was so nice to Palestinians. They gave them land after, like, this thing. It's like, wow, that was so nice of them. Israel took over a majority of, I guess I'll just use this time to, like, fucking go here again just to be, like, just to show, like, let's see. I want to see if they have, like, a thing where it's, like, the Israel, like, expansion graph. Do they have the Israel expansion graph? Damn it, I need specifically the Israel expansion graph. Expansion? But anyway, it's like, wow, they stole a lot of Palestinian land and started, like, encroaching more. Like, again, like, look, this is the partition plan that was supposed to be the thing. That was supposed to be the plan. The partition plan was supposed to be this. Notice, that's not that. Israel, where's Israel? Hold on a second. The partition plan, Gaza's here, and, like, here and here. Hold on. That looks smaller than it's supposed to be. That's weird. What happened? How did that happen? It's like, wow, they, like, took over more land than they were even, like, literally given. Hold on. Literally, it's like, wow, they annexed more territory than they were literally originally given, and we're supposed to, like, somehow be like, oh, but they gave them, like, this tiny piece of land that they stole back. Aw, how nice. How thoughtful of Israel for, like, helping the poor Palestinians that they themselves are annexing and killing. How nice of them. How nice of them. How could Arafat not want to do a deal with the same people who are literally annexing and murdering his people? How could he not want to? How could he reject the deal that didn't even allow his own people the right to return to the homes that were literally stolen from them? How could he not want to do the deal? How could he? How dare he? How evil. He must be a fucking gay. How could he? How dare he? That's disgusting. How could he? Again, like, what? You people are insane. You people are literally insane. You know that, right? I was gonna see if I could, like, find, like, the Yasser Arafat, like, fucking thing. Control F. Yeah, because, like, yeah, that's an actual thing that happened for those who don't know. Like, when I said that he's fucking, when I made, like, the jokes about, like, oh, he's gay. No, literally, like, Israeli experts have tried to claim that Arafat is fucking gay and had AIDS and died. That's literally what they claim. That he's like, oh, look, he gay, he have AIDS, and then it's like, there's no evidence that he had AIDS. Like, they're even, like, this was even on our campaigns. Our campaigns literally said that he was disputed for a long period of time because, like, oh, an Israeli guy said that he had AIDS, so he must have been possibly secretly gay. It's like, okay, like, what's the point? Arafat was gay? Like, wow. Huh? And it's the thing, it's like, I don't get it. Like, even nowadays, we're getting a lot of people who are, like, fucking hating on Arafat now. It's like, I mean, I mean, again, there's criticism we could probably give to Arafat, but it's like, I mean, like, this part probably gets a lot of people, like, in a bit of a tizzy, but, like, the point is like, Arafat was, like, there's a reason why the Israelis are, like, they smeared Arafat. Like, Israelis smeared Arafat for, like, an evil radical, and now he's being smeared as, like, oh, he's not radical enough, and that's the point, that's the thing. That's to me, what makes me think, okay, this guy's probably not, like, that dumb, not, like, that insane. Because when he says, like, the same thing, and then one side claims that he's, like, this evil, like, neolib, like, whatever, and the other side claims he's, like, this evil, dangerous, anti-Zionist, like, whatever, clearly, he's definitely, like, not, like, clearly, he's definitely a fucking, like, he's definitely, like, a bit more, like, nice than, or whatever, like, whatever your point is. Again, you could say he's, like, a flawed person or whatever. I wouldn't even necessarily dispute that. I'm pretty sure if you go in the comment section, you're like, oh, Arafat did this thing that's bad, this thing that's bad, this thing's bad. And I've seen, like, some things from, like, Chris Kunzler and, like, from other people that have, like, made criticisms of, like, Fatah, the PLO, that kind of stuff. It's like, and I don't dispute any of those things. But my point is, like, at least cautious support to Arafat. It doesn't even matter because Arafat's fucking dead. And according to Israel, because he was gay. And it's like, again, that's my point is, again, like, Israel looked at this guy and was like, this is a dangerous, evil radical, and did everything they could to try and, like, ruin his chances of, like, becoming a viable leader for Palestine. And now they're in the same position that they are. And now they're in the position that they are right now because of that. This is real facts. This is actual facts. Anyways, I'm getting way off topic to the news story, so let's just move on to the next thing. Sad news story. And it's a sad news story because Trump's border czar cashed in with key ICE contractor unmasked. So, yeah, surprisingly unsurprising. Tom Homan's ethics filings have fueled concerns that his private sector ties are influencing the administration's immigration crackdown. President Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, was cashing checks from one of the private prison giants now poised to profit from immigration crackdowns he's overseeing. The revelation has fueled concerns that Homan's private sector ties are shaping the Trump administration's efforts to detain and deport migrants, the Washington Post reported, with Senator Dick Durbin warning that the corruption concerns are too large to ignore. Prior to leading Trump's mass deportation push, Homan collected consulting fees from the GEO Group, one of two companies that runs a majority of the country's immigration detention centers, according to a federal ethics filing obtained by the Post. Homan's ethics disclosure and said GEO paid Homan more than $5,000 during the 2 years before his January appointment, though the Post noted that the actual amount could be much higher, as ethics rules do not require a more specific disclosure. As border czar, Tom Homan has sought to rapidly expand the nation's detention capacity, largely by enlisting the help of GEO, and its rival CoreCivic has pushed for 100,000 migrant detention beds, more than double of the 41,500 beds that ICE has had in the 2024 budget. So, like, yeah, it's basically, again, like with the Trump administration, just unabashed, unequivocal corruption. Just unabashed, unequivocal corruption, and nobody's going to do anything about it because the Democrats are limp dick and can't do shit. Speaking of Democrats, I just want to do this interesting thing because, like, this was interesting for a reason that I didn't even understand at first. Okay, so, poll. Democratic voters prefer populism over abundance. Democratic voters prefer a populist message over one that focusing on an abundance agenda, according to a new poll by Demand Progress. Why this matters, Democrats are asking themselves some hard questions as they ponder how they lost the 2024 election, considering how they might win in 2028. On the economic front, some officials like Jake Auchincloss went to embrace a vision of abundance. Like, wait, has he actually done that? But regardless. Claiming your voice to the abundance movement to add a policy retreat for Senate Democrats this month. Other party leaders want to focus on energy, challenge Trump's on a populist message. Think of Senate Minority Chuck Schumer trying to dare Republicans to vote against tax cuts for billionaires. Driving the news, the survey of 1,200 registered voters and Demands Progress, progressive advocacy group, designed to supply hard data points. And like basically, it's basically just, again, like, kind of like, this is the thing that, like, the reason why this got me into attention, because this is like, because, like, I've seen this word a lot in reference to the fucking Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson quote. Like, but I never actually looked into what the fucking abundance, I never understood what the fucking abundance ideology is. And luckily, Bad and Banana posted a fucking YouTube video, and while that was playing in the background, I actually looked up the abundance book. Like, I had heard of one of these two, not Derek Thompson. I just want to quickly look at his wiki page to see if he's, like, got anything of note. No, No, nothing of note. And Ezra Klein, I knew of him because like fucking his name's just popped up every now and then. He's like a fucking like book reporter. He's like a book guy, and like he was somewhat prominent. Like I recognize some of these names, but I don't really give a shit about any of them. But like they wrote a book called Abundance, and it's basically them pushing for a manifesto to push for ambitious projects in the United States like affordable housing, infrastructure, and climate change. It is currently a New York Times bestseller, which is a bullshit stat because literally anything is a New York Times bestseller. Klein and Thompson argue that the regulatory environment in many liberal cities, while well-intentioned, stymies development. They read that American liberals have been more concerned with blocking bad economic development than promoting good economic development since the 1970s. They say Democrats have focused on the process rather than results and favored stasis over growth by backing zoning regulations, doubling strict environmental laws, and tying expensive requirements to public infrastructure spending. Klein and Thompson proposed an abundance agenda. Like, this is the thing. Like, I just wanted to know what the fucking abundance agenda was, so I looked this up, and then this word came up. Supply-side progressivism. And this immediately raised my eyebrows, because I'm like, what? Supply-side progressivism? Because I recognize supply-side economics. That's literally, like, supply-side economics. That's literally Reagan. That's literally Reagan. Like, literally, supply-side economics is literally Reaganism. Like, that's literally his economic plan. And progressives are now claiming we need to do that. Like, as this thing says here, it's basically just a rebranding of third-way populists. It's a third way to like, reject both right-wing and left-wing populism. Which is, again, like, this is the biggest problem. Like, it's again, another thing that's just like, look, the two sides of the aisle, they're a little bit crazy here and there, but, like, we could probably do a little bit more. But that was the thing, I knew that's what it was, but it's like, I didn't actually know what the actual ideology was. What the fuck? You didn't see that, right? I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if it caught on the fucking, like, capture, but, like, there was this weird glitch thing. Hopefully it caught on the YouTube capture. Otherwise, that's gonna sound really weird. So, basically, its applications, like, basically, for lack of a better term, abundance, the plan is this. As this says here, the regulatory environment in many liberal cities, while well-intentioned, stymies development. And they're like, we think that the economic regulation that has been going on in the Democratic Party since the 1970s is bad, and that we need to enact less regulations, and that the less regulations will lead to abundance. Literally, their plan is, like, literally, let me see. Let me read this thing, because I think this says it. In healthcare, the supply of doctors is restricted by limiting the number of doctor residency training programs, increasing barriers for immigrant doctors to practice, and preventing nurses from providing medical services. During COVID-19, the supply of vaccines were restricted by the IDA. So literally, the argument that they have is that, like, literally the argument is that there needs to be less restrictions on testing for vaccinations, and that they need to push harder for that. It's like, what? Like, literally, their plan is less regulation, and, like, that's similar with this. It's like, you know, rather than actually implementing, like, you know, like, actual, like, plans to implement, like, actual housing, the plan is, like, if we just stop, like, with all the regulations on housing, then more houses will be built, and then more homes will be around. That's literally their plan. Like, and the same thing with, like, energy. It's like, look, if we just stop with the regulations that hinder energy progress, then maybe we can move forward and have actual good energy. Which is stupid and is literally just like flat out not true. Like, literally all this bullshit about, like, this is stupid. And it's stupid on this front for a number of reasons. Because, like, it's literally just like, the plan is literally we create more things, and due to the fact that more things will be made, then we'll have less problems because everyone will have more things. That's stupid for 3 reasons. One, let me just see if I can look this up. Okay. German inflation 1914 to 1923. That's literally the exact same model that the Weimar Republic had. If we print more money, then problem will be solved, right? Like, I know this is like a stupid thing, but like literally, and like in this sense, it's like this makes no sense because again, despite how many houses in the U.S., 58,000 Americans are experiencing homelessness. 28 vacant homes for every one person experiencing homelessness. Is there a global food shortage? No, there's not. We produce much food globally, yet 1/3 of it, 1.3 billion, goes to waste. According to the UN Food Agriculture Organization, all that wasted food is enough to feed 1.26 billion people, almost twice the number of undernourished people across the globe. Literally, we already have abundance. You don't need to make an abundance agenda. We have abundance. Abundance exists already. It exists already. You just, like, again, we have it already. It's a matter of distribution, and under the capitalist model, there is no system that will allow this distribution to happen, because in order for this distribution model to happen, then there needs to be some sort of like actual financial incentive, and unfortunately, that's not going to happen, because there is no financial incentive for that, for doing good things. So instead, we have to just live with it, rather than living in a socialist economic model that will like give the people these needs, regardless of whether or not they have money or not. But yeah, regardless, let's just move on to the main topic of this video. Again, I have no clue if this video is short or not, because like when I do these ones, it always seems like I'm going really fast. I don't know why. Regardless, I'm taking the Vanguard values test. I saw this test on like some random Twitter person. I'm like, oh shit, this actually looks like a good test. I think I remember seeing this test before, and I might have taken a variation of this before, but I don't remember. Regardless, what is the Vanguard values test? Because here's the thing, I'm going to be real with you. I love the values political tests, like 8 values, dozen values, left values. There was a test called econ values, but it's basically died, so it's like, I can't take it anymore. I'd love to take it for the channel, but it's just gone. Regardless, it says here, Vanguard Values is a test created by a Canadian nationalist, so I stole it from him, aiming to classify political beliefs to people from the authoritarian left quadrant. This test assumes you're a socialist and authoritarian, so it's probably a stupid test for me to take, but let me see. Vanguard Values. Let me see if I can find it. Oh! Wait, no. No, yes. This is the same one. Vanguard Values retaken. Let me see if I put it in, because like, they're talking about Quark. Quark. Yeah, because this page is like them. They really don't like the user Quark, because Quark, I guess has some economic takes that has some political takes they don't like. What's from the closest match thing? Nothing. The dude who made this test is too dumb and also a nationalist. Note this has been reclaimed by Quark88, a self-proclaimed Canadian nationalist whose atheism crosses into Islamophobic and anti-Semitic territories. Eat shit, bootlicker. Now I don't know if that's true, because like I saw Quark's like fucking like Twitter page and like, okay, no, actually I was gonna say something, but like no, never mind. I was gonna say like Quark follows the state of Israel, but it's like that doesn't mean shit. Robert F. Kennedy's an anti-Semitic Zionist, so it's like I just wanted to take this test. I thought it would be funny. I thought it'd be fun just to see. Even though I don't consider myself an authoritarian, I'm a socialist, but I'm not an authoritarian, so I just want to see what this test will give me. And they divide it into 16 values: the leadership value, which is demagogue or technocrat; the economic value, planned and market; the nationalism, one country global; army, military, peace; class, proletarian, peasant; cultural, uniform and tolerant; social, traditional and Nearctic; and focus, populist, elitist. If I'm going to take a guess, I'm going to say populist, Nearctic, tolerant, proletarian, peace, global, planned, and demagogue. That's my guess. So let's just take the test. 80 statements. For each, select your degree of agreement. Yes, I can do it. What the fuck? That's not 80. Oh, wait, no. I think it's going to do this thing where it's like, after this section of the quiz, they're going to give me like a couple more and be like, let's give you like I've seen this before. All right, let's just get into it. The leadership of the state belongs to those who lead the revolution. I don't know. That's a bit of a tricky question. Because it's like, not everybody who leads a revolution is fit for leadership of an actual country. Like, I mean, some people can do that, but like sometimes their leadership is not like their skill set is not really needed for like a post whatever world. So I'm gonna put neutral just because they could have some. It could be either or. It doesn't really matter. Only economic planification can free the workers from exploitation. I assume this means economic planning, so I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, planning. Partially agree because I think like I don't really like the whole like. To be fair, I just don't like markets in general. I just generally don't like markets because there's like I see that as capitalism, so it's like cringe. We must accept that some nations simply aren't fit for socialism. I'd say strongly disagree because I think every nation can be socialist in some capacity. It just depends on like the slight variation of it. Under no pretext shall the workers be disarmed. I'd say slightly agree. I'm in favor of gun control, but I think like generally just like I don't really think there should be that. I don't think there should be disarmed or whatever. Socialism is an urban matter before all. Disagree. I've seen tribal socialism or even just like socialism that is not urban, like the Zapatistas and the Chiapas. We cannot afford to let socialism fall into degeneracy. I'm guessing that they are referring to fucking like LGBTQ people, so I'm going to say strongly disagree. Traditions of the people must be kept. Strongly disagree. I don't believe that traditions of themselves are inherently good. True socialism can only be led by members of the working class. Slight disagree because we have, again, Frederick Engels, he was not working class. Trying to think of good examples, like the leader, Subcomandante Marcos, he wasn't a working class guy. I don't think. Would he be considered working class? Because I think he was like, I don't know if he was that, I don't know if he was like that affluent, but he was definitely like better working. He had more wealth than the average Zapatista at the time before he left to join the Zapatistas. Without competent leadership, socialism will always fail. Generally, yeah. A market made up of co-ops is the most efficient form of socialism. I'd say slightly disagree, but no, maybe neutral, because like that can work, I guess, but I don't really know. I'd have to like look more in depth in that. The revolution must be spread worldwide. Slightly agree. Socialism should never demonstrate violence. I'd say neutral, because like in general, I don't think that socialism should be violent, but I know that there's like very rare and very obvious cases where sometimes that is unavoidable. Like, I mean, unfortunately, like the Cuban Revolution just, like, I mean, like, again, like, it's like in the American Revolution. The American Revolution and, like, the Civil War, we could have done everything we could to prevent violence from happening, but then eventually it's just, like, it just had to happen. So I'm gonna put neutral. This is gonna be fucking up the quiz. The priority of the revolution should be a land reform. Absolutely. I'm 100% in favor of land reform. The liberation of the working man goes in pair with other minority liberation movements, such as queer, trans liberation, black liberation, indigenous liberation. Strongly agree, 100%. If one of us are oppressed, then all of us are oppressed. Religion is just another way to exploit the working class. Strongly agree. Socialism can only come from an educated elite. Strongly disagree. I don't think that's the case. It can come from anybody. I wouldn't say I'm that educated of an elite. I'm not an elite. I would say I'm probably somewhat educated, but like otherwise, I'm not like an elite. Party politics bring more stability for the workers than any other system. I wouldn't necessarily say it would, but like, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Neutral. I can't really say. Markets will never produce what the people really need. I'd say at least agree. You know what, I'm going to say strongly agree. The main reason I'm a socialist is to save my nation. I wouldn't say that's the main reason. I don't really think. I mean, the nation to me, I don't really care about the nation. I more care about the people living in it. Like, this is just like land on a piece of paper. So I'll put like slightly disagree. We should develop a stockpile of weapons for the socialist cause. I'd say neutral. I mean, I won't, but like you can if you want. You can like whatever. 5 to 10 year plans are needed in agrarian nations. Yeah, I'd say for the most part, like agree. At least agree. I think like you gotta put on paper like some. I mean, especially if you're trying to do like something bigger with it. Like I mean, you need to like. I think everybody needs to have like some form of plan. Like I mean, again, that's just like a general thing. Like if you're a politician, you need like a plan of what you want to do in those multiple years. Sharing one common culture helps for true equality. I'm gonna put slightly disagree because like, what does that mean? What is one? Because what does the one common culture mean? Does that mean we forcibly get rid of the other cultures? Does that mean that all the cultures come together? So I'm gonna put disagree. It is in the interest of the people to keep historic heritages. Slightly disagree because like it doesn't matter. Like I mean, some things in history, like I mean, history for all intents and purposes is just history. Like I just think we should teach history, not like glorify history or like whatever. History is history, regardless of like whether it's good or bad. Aristocratic or autocratic regimes can never represent the working class. Strongly agree. An engineer knows more than a demagogue on how to rule a country. Maybe like slightly agree because like he kind of understands like the more on the ground issues. Workers' self-management can only exist in a market. No. Nationalism and patriotism have no place in a Marxist movement. That's a slight iffy question because like I like people like Hugo Chavez and like other pink tide leaders and like they're pretty nationalistic and patriotic. So I wouldn't say they necessarily have no place, but it's like I understand like, you know, in the West, like nationalism and patriotism are like especially like really, really, really like bad things. So it's like I don't know. I'm gonna put neutral. War is disastrous as most soldiers that die are part of the working class. Yes. Well, it doesn't necessarily matter if they're part of the working class. Like the fact that people are dying are bad. So it's like, yeah. Without the farmers to feed the workers, socialism will never really fail. I would say cross this out and replace it with the farm hands, then yeah. But like, I just say yeah broadly, I guess. There should be a legalization of drugs, absolutely. We should research technologies for the greater good, absolutely. Pre-revolution working class are not suited to rule and need bourgeois leaders. I wouldn't necessarily disagree or agree with that statement. I'm gonna put like slightly disagree because it's like, I mean, the people should decide who the leaders are, regardless of whether or not they are like working class or not. No technocrat will ever truly represent the people like a revolutionary. I don't know. Technocrats are, I guess slightly agree because like a technocrat has at this point kind of like levied the ground of where we are today. Market socialism is just another strand of capitalism. I wouldn't necessarily go that far to call it that, but like, I mean, I think it has like I think it's like got some problems that could be worked out, I guess. Globalism is a tool for the rich and powerful. I'd say strongly agree, yeah. So far it has been. We have the duty to declare war on the enemies of the working man. Neutral. Factory conditions are much more in need of help than rural conditions. No, I'd say strongly disagree. I think everybody needs help. Like rural areas are getting fucked up. Factory places are getting fucked up. Like everybody's getting fucked up. Class divides are way more relevant than social divides. Slightly agree because I think we can work past most social divides. Old ways of living are overall more benefit to the working class. Strongly disagree. That depends on what you mean. Like the olden ways of living were like getting 5 children, like making like 10 children because like 5 died of dysentery. Without the people to support it, a socialist government is illegitimate. Broadly agree, yeah. Power should be transferred to the best suited, not the most influential. I don't know. Because again, I think the people should decide who the leaders are. So, like, whatever. Planned economies have failed every time. I wouldn't say they've failed every time. But I guess I need, like, an explicit, like, chart of, like, I guess I'll just look it up. Like, I'll just look at planned economies and see. Like, are there any examples that, does the wiki page have any examples they can list off of? So I don't see any examples. So I can't really say they've failed every time. I don't even know if they've been implemented that many times. There should be one united world socialist republic. No, too authoritarian for me. I get the point of the quiz. It's like that, but like whatever. Socialism should be implemented by reform instead of a revolution. Kind of. Agrarian and rural regions are best placed to start a revolution in third world countries. Kind of. We should restrict hate speech for the safety of the workers. Kind of. We must get rid of traces of past exploitation. Strongly agree. Socialism should avoid becoming a tyranny by the majority. Slightly disagree. Actually, because I don't really know like how legitimate the phrase like tyranny of the majority is, so I'm just gonna put slightly disagree. Technocracy is a trap as experts don't care for the population. I'd say slightly agree. The means of production can't fully be worker-owned if markets exist. Kind of. Socialism in one country, like with Stalin and Kim, are needed to secure our positions and protect our nation. Disagree. Violence is needed to fight to overthrow the bourgeoisie. I wouldn't necessarily say so, because I think, neutral. It is better to collectivize cities first than farming areas. Neutral, again, it doesn't really matter where. Conforming to social norms is important to keep the workers organized properly. Disagree. What is the social norms? Religious institutions provide good help for poor workers. Neutral, because again, like whatever. The populism of Huey Long is the good way to go. Slight agree. Huey Long has some good points, but like I don't even know why he's on this quiz for like socialism. Not everyone is competent enough to lead a socialist nation. Strongly agree, yeah. Central planning doesn't allow for the production of wanted and desired goods for population. I would say disagree. Just pick ones that are wanted. I don't know. We should join an international socialist alliance. You know, I think broadly fine with that. In the end, a revolution will have caused more harm than good to workers. I'd say slightly agree. Since agricultural exploitation has existed longer, we should make it our priority to dispense that first. Yeah, I guess. If different individuals are equal, so should be different cultures. Yeah. The choice to abort should not be given to the one carrying the fetus. The choice to abort or not should be given to the one carrying the fetus. Yes. Let me reread that question again. The choice to abort or not should be given to the one carrying the fetus. Yes. We need a stronger leader to protect the workers. Neutral. Oh, well, this is the quiz. Advised. Slight demagogish with a lot of technocracy. Economic axis. Directed. Nation. Spreadable. 56%. Army axis peaceful. Class axis peasant. Cultural axis tolerant. Social axis revolutionary. Focus axis populist. Closest match democratic socialism. You know, not really surprising. Again, I don't know if this quiz is short or not, so like let me see. I don't know. Screw it. You'll get the AltValues too. I don't really care. Let's just do this one. I'm interested in the history of ancient civilizations, Greek, Rome, etc. Strongly disagree. I actually don't give a shit that much about like Greek and Rome history. I don't really care. Like, I mean, I like more modern history. You know, like the 1910s and beyond, like the 1800s at the earliest. Like maybe the 1700s to an extent, but like otherwise, yeah, I prefer like whatever. The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. I wouldn't say necessarily. No, disagree. The free market distributes resources between different parties, worker management in an unfair manner. Yes. Globalization is inevitable. There's no point to reverse modern day hyperconnectivity. Kind of, but I think it's a tool that we can like use change. We are ultimately irrelevant as individuals. Our only effort is to have a group. Only efforts to the group have a long-lasting effect. I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case because there are some individuals who can like just move past working with a group. I mean, to an extent, like, you know, as people in history, a lot of people know Steve Jobs, considerably less people know about the people who surrounded him when he was initially making Apple. Market systems will inevitably allow harmful monopolies for consumers to form. Strongly agree. Modern architecture feels dull and cheap. Kind of agree. AI will be capable of better economic planning than any other market could. I would have said originally at one point agree or strongly agree, but like at this point I've seen like AI models be like trash, so I'm going to put disagree. Politics shouldn't be taught in schools as it is inherently done in a biased manner. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but like teach people the systems in place and maybe the ideologies in place, but like try to be a little bit more, like, I mean, there's gonna be like some bias, but you gotta like at least check the bias. I don't know, whatever. It is abhorrent to see how human spirituality has been neglected in our society. Strongly agree. I mean, strongly disagree. But I mean, I clicked strongly disagree, so I'm just gonna make it abundantly clear again. Strongly disagree with that. I don't really care about spirituality. There are ideas from every culture that we could apply either in our personal lives or society. I'd say at least agree. Ecological measures in industries are necessary even if it sacrifices output and efficiency. Strongly agree. We need that at this point. Each nation must develop on their own terms and hence determine their own fate. Yeah, broadly. I mean, we could probably help them here and there, but like otherwise, yeah, broadly. The only person someone should truly rely on is himself. Strongly disagree. You should have at least some person you rely on. Even utopic goals should be thrived towards. Many ideas once thought as impossible are in reality nowadays. Yeah, we should at least look towards utopic goals. I mean, I put it only slightly agree because like you gotta check it a little bit, but like otherwise, there should be political youth organizations like Comasol to instill our values in our youth. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that this is a really reactionary organization. No, it's a fucking like, but like yeah, I mean this is a little bit of a. This is a little bit of a no. Yeah, this is definitely like fucking. This sounds culty, so it's like disagree. This is pretty culty. The roles of genders are mainly determined by biological traits rather than societal ones. Strongly disagree. Well, hold on. The roles of gender are mainly determined by biological traits. Yeah, not biological traits. It is mostly societal. Live and let live is the best life philosophy. I'll put slightly neutral because like. To an extent, I get it, but like I think it's like we need to move. We need to just like live and let live is not like tolerance is not fine enough. Like tolerance is fine, so I'm gonna put neutral because like if tolerance is all you're gonna give me, then yeah, I guess we could live with fucking like tolerance. But like if I prefer like full on people like yes, we support you living whatever. Religion has no place in my society. It has a place in history books. Disagree. I mean agree. Globalism is a threat to my ideal way of... Well, again, I'm just rechecking to make sure, like, I'm getting the correct questions right. Globalism is a threat to my ideal way of societal order. Globalism as it exists now is, but, like, not necessarily the idea of globalism in and of itself, but, like, that's a little bit of a here and there about, like, globalism. Politics is one of the most important aspects of society as it determines which way society moves. Yes. The end generally justifies the means. Outcome is the priority. I wouldn't necessarily say I wouldn't agree because like Because, like, I mean, let's use a very hypothetical scenario. Let's say Israel. Let's say after Israel does what they're doing, Israel becomes like a prosperous, loving, blah, blah, blah nation of kumbaya, socialism, whatever. That doesn't matter. They built their ideal society on dead bodies. So it's like, no. Yeah, I just put strongly disagree because, like, again, the means are somewhat important. I'd rather read science fiction than a book about history. No, I'm fine with reading either or. I'm fine with reading either or, especially considering like we have stuff like Andor now, where it's like you can do both. I could do either or. An ideal society should have a priesthood or other religious ruling class. No. There are no inherent traits in people, as they are mainly determined by their environment, upbringing, society. Slightly agree, yeah. Governments are bound to regulations and lobbying, which usually gives unfair advantages to large corporations. Strongly agree. Compromises usually lead to abandoning of principles in the long run. Kind of, yeah. Depending on like what is being compromised. There are certain principles we must adhere to get our goal. Yes, I would say yeah, at least a little bit. Neo-Luddites are naive people whose society would collapse or get conquered than ours. Yes, absolutely. Certain people will always handle their lives better and are more successful regardless of the political system. No. Political successes, even if due to foreign factors, should be attributed to our ideology. I mean, if our ideology did it, then yes. But if they didn't do it, then it's like, we can't take credit for it? Like, what? Like, I mean, I don't know, whatever. I'm just gonna put disagree because, like, I guess this is basing it on, like we're lying on about it, but, like, regardless. You know what, I guess I'll just put neutral because, like, I mean, it's a different thing. Like, did our ideology do it or not? It is okay to restrict individual rights if the community benefits from it. I'd say slightly because, like, this is the thing I need to understand because, like, I don't understand why individual and human and community rights are oppositional. I really don't understand it. You could probably like put it in the comment section. This is the thing I've never understood. I still don't understand. Like, why is individual and community rights a different thing? So I'm just gonna put neutral because no. I guess I'll just use this one. Don't know, understand. Poor socioeconomic conditions are caused by people themselves or nature and are not institutionalized suppression. Disagree because sometimes it is institutionalized suppression. Non-market systems are always bound to failure due to the lack of adaptability and self-regulation. No, I think that there's literally self-regulation because they're literally being regulated by someone. Like, they're literally being regulated by someone. What? Alienation from nature is the primary cause of many modern issues. No. Certain pollutive industries are just necessary evils to upkeep society. Kind of, but like we need to have like systems that keep to alleviate the concerns that we have. Rehabilitation is a legitimate alternative to punishment as it can lower reoffending rates. Yes. I'd rather live in a city with conveniences than in the countryside. Yes. Every lifestyle affects society in a way that and should be condemned or improving accordingly. Disagree, because again, like sometimes it's just like mind your own fucking business. Religion helps people self-actualize themselves rather than constrain them. Strongly disagree. If possible, I would go on vacation to the cosmos. I mean, again, like if possible, and it's like that means I'm gonna assume that if possible means like there's gonna be no concerns. There's not gonna be a problem. Like there's not gonna be any accidents. You go and then you come back and you're fine. But if that were the case, I'd absolutely love to. I could describe my aesthetic preferences with space, acceleration technology, and youth. Slightly agree. Crime generally arises from poor socioeconomic factors and isn't caused by their genetic traits. Strongly agree. It is very unlikely that a secular society will ever return to a religious one, as God remains dead once killed. No, because it's not impossible. Like, Mexico was once very secular, and now it's, like, extremely religious. And, you know, Russia was once literally state atheist, and they're at least some... Hold on, let me check. Russia. Yeah, so like, yeah, it's not necessarily impossible for God to return, especially like if we have like the God typology or whatever, like not type, what's the typology, but like, yeah, my point. Like if we have the iconography and stuff, like yeah, it'll probably come back if we don't keep it down, or like if we don't like make sure. Regardless, again, it doesn't matter. That's just the point. Like if we wiped out like the idea of religion, period, like if we snapped our fingers and then like nobody remembered anything religious, then yeah, like I mean, religion itself could come back, but it wouldn't be the same thing. Some compromise need to be done to keep the opposition from turning too hostile against us. It depends on what the compromise is, so neutral. Our youth should be taught about religious values. No. Ethnic minorities will never be able to fully assimilate and their children will be living in an identity crisis. No. The intelligence of some people can be explained by their genetics. No. Group identities and tribalism are the main factors that slowly establish mankind. Neutral, because kind of, but not really. Religions are generally a tool to control the masses, even today. Yes. There's nothing universal in universalism, as all theory is written in someone's cultural context. What's universalism? Universalism is a philosophical theological context in Christianity that some ideas have a universal application and applicability. At least slightly agree, because like there's some things I just want to grill, for God's sakes. No, I don't like grilling. My ideas can be theoretically applied across the world. Strongly agree. The harm done by religious corruption, wars, outweighs the spiritual benefits. Yes. Yes. If we are to have state enterprises, then they should be run by the same principles as private ones. No, I think they should be run by like better and like for not profit incentive. Opportunism is a valid strategy to achieve a desired goal. Strongly disagree. Our focus should be on individuals rather than group identities. Strongly disagree. I could describe my aesthetic with preferences with godly, mighty, strong, ideal. Strongly disagree. Did you complete this test in an unironic manner? Yes, and I'd like to anonymously help with ideology assessment. Yeah, I'll just do that. How would you classify yourself? Libertarian left. How would you classify yourself? Leftist. Culture, very progressive. Views on economics, very left. Views on authority, very libertarian. Label would you give your ideology? Mine. What is your gender? Male. How old are you? What religion would you adhere to? Atheist. Which region of the world do you live in? Did you focus on the humanities or sciences? Both. Would you describe your status? Unemployed student? Highest education level this? How physically active are you? Closest match TBD. Balanced, collective, individual. Nationalized. Constructivist, idealist. Balanced, industrial. Politicized, atheist, futuristic. So they don't give me an ideology for this one, so whatever. Anyways, we got TBD on AltValues and Democratic Socialists for this one. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell to notify when a future video comes out. And if you want more content from me, consider supporting me on Patreon.